All right, that was about as close to clap as we got. Hey, welcome to It Came From GenX. I am Keith Porter alongside Brian Fisher. And no Michael Skinner tonight. We fired him. We've got your letters. We heard your calls and your messages, and we finally listened. No, just kidding.
Yeah, we needed a ratings boost, so let's figure we gotta try something around here, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah. All right, our friend Skinner's away tonight, handling some business, and we will hold down the fort in his absence. And he is always missed when he is not here, which only happened, a couple times?
Well, a couple of times. Yeah, he got hurt, but today he took it as a better reason to miss. He took his family up to Cedar Point today to kind of wind down the summer season with the kids and all of that. So he's
going to sleep good tonight.
Yes, that's a long day up there today. And sent a clip of his daughter. She was on one of the largest roller coasters in the world, literally, is up there, the Millennium Force, and her seat belt was not buckled properly.
Stop.
Got past the attendants, and she's like, "My belt's not buckled." So about fourth of the way up this hill, and it's a pretty steep hill. Have you ever been to Cedar Point? It's a very steep hill. And they stopped it fourth of the way up so they can get her buckled in properly. Got her buckled in, but I guess the positive, they got to ride it an extra time without waiting. So basically, they got an extra ride out of it. But that's quite the experience. They were there. That's high up. That was, I'm sure, quite
more power
quite scary
to you
today. But anyway.
Okay, well that's good. We had a pretty awesome weekend.
Yes.
Along with Skinner and along with our fourth host who has been on leave of absence, John Cooper. We had Cooper and his lovely wife Amy threw a luau Saturday.
Yes.
And we had a blast. Most everybody came dressed with Hawaiian garb on, and there was just amazing food. And just want to thank Cooper and Amy for that. Awesome time. Stayed pretty late. I don't know how late you left. I left before you, but man, what a day.
Yeah, it was definitely after midnight. I was getting a little tired around the fire there, but yeah, great, like you said, great food, great company. I haven't laughed that hard. Yeah, I haven't laughed that hard in quite a while. Yes. So that was very good. John did a lot of hard work around there, building a bar in his garage, literally by hand, and just
unbelievable
all
work
this stuff. Yeah.
And I tell you what, Fish, I take pride in the people that I hang with. We get groups of people, no matter how large, and it's just a great time by all. Nobody acting a jerk, never any fights, nothing like that. And you know what? It says something about you by the company that you keep, and makes me feel good about the people that I know. So, had a good time. Except for that Skinner guy, but whatever.
Absolutely.
So, anyway, other than that, just the dating thing is still going.
Yeah, speaking of roller coasters, so what's going on with the with all the dating apps? And so
my latest she hit me up about 4 days ago. She says her name is Chantel, and she's 72.
Which is a little older than us.
I don't think the word Chantel existed 72 years ago, especially spelled with a C. And she said she's full of spank. I don't know what that means.
Yep.
I don't know if it's a misprint. She meant spunk, but she said she's full of spank, and she had a picture of herself curling weights. Whatever, man. Dude. What is wrong, man? I lost it. I lost my mojo, so I don't know, man.
Boy, that's a tough one. So it's like, hey, listen, when we're 72, if we could be standing up and walking around and breathing, that's pretty good.
And full of spank.
Ladies curling full of spank, absolutely. Ladies curling weight. Hey, give her some credit, but yeah, we're not quite there. I'm sure she's a lovely lady. We're just not quite to Chantel yet.
You're so happy, Chantel.
Maybe 10, 15 more years. Then it's like I got to really be thinking about Chantel. But yeah, not yet.
Whatever your name is. Okay. Well, all right.
Not yet.
Well, anyway, Hey, Fish is rocking the Nintendo 64 shirt.
Absolutely.
Very, very nice. I never had the 64.
That I was living with Cooper at the time in our apartment, and that was like the new technology, because it was like 3D and everything else, and it had very, very cool. You had the first person shooter stuff like that. But I got this in the Star Wars Shadows of the Empire.
Okay.
That was like the game, and when Cooper and I brought that daggone thing home, we set that up and sat down, just he and I, put that game in. It was like, holy crap. It was,
our Generation X, our generation is probably the I don't know, I guess you would consider us the leaders when it comes to video games, because our generation as kids, we were there with the beginning. The ColecoVision, the table tennis thing.
Sure.
And then with the Atari, that was just when everything exploded right there. I would have just tons of people in my house taking turns, playing combat first for weeks. That was the only game we had. Came with it. And then, as time goes by, you start trading and buying and all these other things and borrowing. And we watched this from the beginning. I played the first Madden, till my thumbs wore off. Now here we are at Madden, 16 or 17 or 29, or I don't know. But it's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, you're right. It's the technology, how it's changed throughout the years, is pretty amazing. I kind of stopped. I'm frozen in time on the PlayStation 3 at the moment. That's as far as I got right there. So
do not feel bad.
Yep, go ahead.
I got a PS2.
Oh yeah.
And I was so happy with it because I played Madden 06 and Madden 09, my favorite ones, because Steelers went to the Super Bowl in those years. And I wore the thing out. When it broke, I went to the video game store. The dude was like, "Man, we don't even have that anymore." And I cried like a baby in front of him. He found one and just switched the box and said, "Here, just get out of here."
Wow.
Yeah,
that's nice.
I'm a grown man. And so I recently bought my son's PS4 because he got a PlayStation 5. Okay. And he sold it to me at a really, really great price. So that's why I'm at the PS4. Now, if it wasn't for that, I'd still be playing PlayStation 2, which I love. No problems.
Yep.
I only play 2 games. I play Madden and I play Ace Combat. That's it for me. So, okay. All right, let's get the show cooking. Okay, we're going to got a lot of stuff to talk about. We'll cover a little world news in honor of our Mike. But lots going on in sports and other topics today. So you want to start us off with some world news?
Yeah, sounds good. Let me, if you don't mind, Keith, I just remind the folks where they can find us real quick. That's all right.
I've only done this show 30 times or so.
You've had a long day, my friend. So
Thank you.
We're starting late here tonight, too. So you might be listening to us on WMVU.org, Global Internet Radio, Mondays from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. You can listen to us on demand whenever you want to on your favorite podcast platforms, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and more. Give us a subscribe on your preferred podcast platform. Give us a rating and review if you don't mind. It helps others find the show. We are out there on Facebook at It Came From GenX, YouTube It Came From GenX, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and you can email the show at camefromgenx330@gmail.com. We did launch a new website. All the show information is there. All the social media links I just mentioned are there. Links to most recent episodes and videos, all right there for you, including a nice new promo shot, Keith, that I believe your photography buddy took at the luau of the three of us just now.
James Cooper.
Yes.
I am a professional photographer, but I know the goods when I see it. I bow down. This guy is something special.
James Cooper Photography, I think, .com, Keith. You can find him on Facebook and out there online.
Our promo shot, which you will be seeing here very soon. And it's just excellent work.
Yeah, very, very, very funny man as well.
Hilarious.
Our website is It Came From GenX, all one word, .wordpress, WORD press, also one word, .com. ItCameFromGenX.wordpress.com. Find us there. Check us out. And matter of fact, Keith, we'll put a link to Mr. Cooper's photography on the website as well, so folks can find him there and check out his work. So we appreciate your support out there. Thank you very much.
Right. Well, let's not put a link for him without putting a link for mine. Pretty proud of my photography too here. Okay?
Absolutely. We'll put them all up there. Absolutely. Okay. We'll put yours first.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. All right. Go ahead, buddy. Let's get this world news. Wait. Before you do that, I want to say thank you to Gustavus Dominic. He's the reason we're here, and I can't put any plainer than that. And we also want to shout out to our producer, my man, my nephew, Mr. Mike Skinner Jr. Mm-hmm. He makes us sound good. Man, he's got like the Porter breathing button, that he has to use to get me all fixed up here. So I just want to say thank you to Mike. All right, go ahead, Mike.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, guys. We definitely appreciate that. And Mike is not afraid to let us know what we could do better on our audio quality and everything else. So we appreciate his passion out there. Absolutely. Well, world news. Today is Monday, August the 16th. Certainly by far the biggest news event. Certainly one of our lifetimes, frankly, I guess, is the fall of Afghanistan. So, as most people know, the U.S. had planned to withdraw from Afghanistan under prior leadership. Biden came in, decided he's going to keep it and push it and still make it happen. We've been over there for 20 plus years, Keith, something like that, trying to train their military in preparation for takeovers and everything else. So Biden said, we're leaving, we're heading out of here, and it has been a rapid takeover of Afghanistan by the Taliban.
Very fast.
Yeah, quickly took over cities, and they took over the
provinces
capital.
After province, yeah.
Absolutely. So now they're in the capital, the presidential palace now, and they're saying, I guess, some of the right things as far as peaceful transfer of power and this and that and the other. Of course, it's very scary for people over there right now. It's very scary for women in particular, who many are afraid to live under more strict Islamic rules, with not being able to work and go to school and be covered up and be pretty much, prisoners in their home, some worry about. So it'll be something to see, I guess, in the very near future. People trying to flee the country, flooding the airport, trying to get out, trying to get Americans out of there and other business people out of there. It is just complete chaos at the moment. So you feel for people over there. So
yes.
Yeah. Thoughts on this, Keith? What's the first things that come to your mind when you hear about all this?
First, you have to ask the question, what does it benefit the Taliban as far as a strategic stronghold taking over Afghanistan? What could be the repercussions of that? The Taliban has a mission, and I don't think people understand what is this all about? What are all these terrorists all about? What's their problem? Is it just pure hatred or whatever? And that's part of it. They hate Western culture, Western civilization. They think it has corrupt and seeped into their world, and they want to restore what is known as the caliphate. And that is just basically their law, Sharia law, is what it is. And it is very, very strict. And Western culture has seeped into the Middle East in some areas so steep that they become ready to murder because of it. Like you said, the women being educated, working, all these things, and rightfully so. So that's what this whole thing's about. So you have to ask yourself, what does it do for them to get a foothold by taking over Afghanistan? Right as we leave. Biden today was defending his decision to do so. And what else was he going to do? He's going to say, man, I really screwed up. So that's the only thing I would want to know. What does this mean? Other than we feel bad for the people of Afghanistan, especially the women, like you mentioned. So that's my only thoughts. What does this mean? The Middle East has been messed up since, back in Jesus' time. That's what started all this. The two brothers. So it's nothing new. But I think if we get an idea of what does this mean for us and for the rest of the world, I have more to comment about it. But right now, it just sounds like more crap that's been going over there for years.
Do you think, we're not really a political show, of course, here, but do you think we should we stay over there and be it's like, I guess the thought process is we've been over there so long, we're getting our own people killed, and what is it really accomplishing for our best interest over time?
That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. We lost a lot of people in this country over the last 50 or 60 years by interfering. It used to be to stop communist aggression. And we had to, we had to in some areas. Some areas, a lot of people feel we should have just stayed out of, like Vietnam or whatnot. But what does this do for us other than help the Afghan people? The Middle East is a very, very dangerous place. Some of these countries have acquired very dangerous weaponry, and we have fought hard to stop certain ones from getting nuclear capability. I forget what movie it was, but they made a quote, and they were talking about a certain country had nuclear bombs, and he goes, well, they've always had nuclear weapons. And he goes, well, I'm not worried about the guy that has a bunch of nuclear weapons. I'm worried about the guy that just wants one. Because that means they're going to use it. So I don't know, man. I really don't know what will it do for us? What should we be concerned about this? Does this give Taliban a foothold to spray it further? Is what I'm saying. That's the question.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out. So hopefully not a lot of innocent people are hurt because of all this. I guess we'll see. But I'm kind of with you. It's like I don't understand what the end game would have been eventually. You have
That's
to
a
be
good
there.
way to put it. Yeah,
you have to be there forever, just to keep the Taliban away. And again, even with that, what's it like?
The
you
only
said,
thing I can say is you go from being a cult to being a movement to now being a nation. And if you think about it in that terms, that can be very dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All right. Well, we certainly our prayers are out there for the innocent folks over there. And I'm sure if things get quite bad, we might have to rethink it, but who knows? I guess we'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's completely switch gears from a very somber story to more lighthearted stuff. Keith, let me come back to you and talk about what's going on in the world of sports and music.
Lots of interesting stuff going on, man. Let's talk about sports today. Just a couple of quick things I want to point out. The AP poll came out today in college football. And no surprise to anybody, unless you've been living under a rock, Alabama was number one.
Perhaps these guys right here on my mug might be up
also there. No surprise to anybody, Ohio State's in the top 5. They came out at number 4 today, which is a very good place to be in, I think. I like the 4 spot. It's too much pressure at number 1, I think. But 4 gets you in, and which will eventually means you're going to probably a good chance you could move up a spot throughout the season. And if you should lose later, it'll probably be to a really good team. You'll stay in that playoff race. So I like where we are at 4. Clemson was at 3. And Oklahoma came in at number 2.
No kidding.
Which
That's
is really
interesting.
really
Okay.
surprising. And Ohio State's big question, obviously, is who's the quarterback game. We don't know. We got some great talent coming back on defense, especially we have some in the receiving core. Olavi and guys like that are coming back, but we don't know about the quarterback position. So this is going to be interesting. I think Ohio State was given number 4 out of respect, but there are a lot of big question marks there. So
you got the top recruit in the country, I think, right? Quarterback? I think they did.
Really?
I think they did. Yeah.
Okay.
I can't think of the kid's name, but Skinner talked about him, I guess, with the big hair and everything else. But
Okay. Well, as we get closer to football season here, we'll get more in depth.
Yeah.
And look into it more. Of course, we have a lot of decisions to make as far as reality football and things like that. We certainly want to cover the football season this year. We'll just figure out how we're going to do it. But I'll look more in depth into that and get more answers before the season starts. Okay. Interesting story today. This kind of ties in with sports and also world news. But the Atlanta Falcons is the first NFL team today to report 100% vaccination rate. That is truly incredible. You talk about players, you talk about coaches, you talk about staff. I can't even stress how much I think this gives them a leg up on other teams.
Sure.
Because you've got so much protocol going on since last season just to practice. You got to stop. When you pull into the facility, get your temperature taken. All these different things are going on, which also takes up a whole lot of time and a whole lot of manpower. To have 100% vaccination rate and can get back to business as usual, as far as a couple of seasons ago, this is going to give, I think, the Atlanta Falcons a leg up. Do you think teams are going to follow suit here? Is this just an isolated thing? Because, there's a lot of pushback on the vaccine in a lot of these NFL teams. So I am really, really, really surprised to hear this came out of just one team. And I don't know if this is going to catch on or not, but I certainly think it's going to give them an advantage. Fish?
Yeah, I think well, certainly you can still, as we've talked about, you can still get sick, but certainly the likelihood that you'll be really sick is extremely low. So I'm quite certain if a guy tests positive, he's still going to have to sit out for some length of time at least. However, you're not likely to be out for an extended period of time because you are just down and out. You know what I'm saying? So from that respect, I think I agree with you. I think you definitely get a competitive advantage there. And it's interesting because you're right. I am sure there's somebody in that team somewhere that does not necessarily believe in the vaccine, or it's against their political, but whatever, you name it. There's a reason why some people didn't want to do it. And whatever they did to come together, I'm sure it was some big unity thing, give them credit, so. But yeah, will other teams do that? I'm sure other teams are thinking about how to position it, and it'll be interesting to see if any other teams step up and does that. So
now it was mandatory for the coaches, the front office executives, equipment managers, and scouts.
Okay.
But because of the NFLPA, which is the National Football League players agreement, they can't force them to do it.
Okay.
So I think it was really a heck of an effort to get this done. I'm really, really leery about where this whole thing is going. I know you talked in production here a story in New York that I think will also reflect on this. But wow. Yeah, Atlanta Falcons, man. That's something. I think this. Well, we'll see how the season goes. Supposedly this is a team back on the rise. They've been down for a while since the Super Bowl. So it's interesting that it happened when the NFL has actually loosened restrictions as far as vaccinations are concerned. But we'll see. Okay, so other sports story. Well, you actually, it's not a sports story. Music. Let's switch over to music.
Okay.
Lots going on in music today. Interesting people who have really, really made an impact in the music world. We'll start off with just birthdays. A young lady by the name of Madonna Chacon, 1958, which makes her 62 years old. Madonna was born on this day. I know we talked about Madonna earlier on the show, but her impact on the world is something to talk about. You know, we look at the clip of her first appearance on American Bandstand. And I don't know if you remember this clip, but Dick Clark asked her what her goals were. And she said to rule the world.
I remember that. Yep.
Yeah. And of course, that's it's a metaphor. It's a saying, not to literally rule the world, but the music world, to be on top is what she was saying. And certainly she did just that with a combination of rhythmic songs, subpar singing, subpar dancing. But I think because the dancing was subpar, people could do it. The average person could relate to it. And I think because her singing wasn't Christina Aguilera or Beyonce, all like that, you could sing her songs too. And I think that said something for her. The average person could flock to her and say, yeah, you know, I can sing Papa Don't Preach and things like that. But of course, her subject matter is what was controversial. I mentioned the song Papa Don't Preach. This is basically about a girl, you know, an unwed young mother with strong Catholic upbringing. Dad was really mad. And she basically says, screw you, I'm going to have this kid anyway, and leaves the house in the video. Then, of course, you know, before that was like a virgin. Very, very controversial. 13, 14-year-old girls singing this song. I think Madonna has a lot to do with the rise of promiscuity of young girls in the 80s and 90s. I've felt strongly about that. I've been saying it for years. And we can't sit here and deny the effect of pop culture on our kids just because it doesn't suit us. Fish?
Well, yeah, certainly in our time, if it contributed to that, thank goodness, you know, because we needed all the help we could get back then, you know. That's it. Yeah.
Wow,
yeah. You could. Now, by the way, you can go back and listen to this episode. Matter of fact, I named the episode after that conversation. Madonna is Bewitching is the name of the episode because
that's right.
You had mentioned because she made an appearance at the LGBTQ parade or something.
Yes.
And then you had the opinion. I'm sure still have the opinion that she is a witch, and that is one reason that she was able to gain popularity and rise to power. So is that still? Yep.
Without question.
That's legitimate opinion, right? Yeah,
I'm going to send you some stuff, and you tell me when you're done, okay?
Okay. All right. Very good.
Okay.
But I like Madonna. So I thought she was fun, like you said. I think everything you said, she was not a...
Man, I grew up loving a lot of Madonna songs.
Yep, me too. Absolutely. A lot of fun. Definitely one of the most influential artists of the 80s, without question.
Yes. Now, my next birthday, this is an interesting artist, I think, right here. 1968. In 1968, Bruce Springsteen performed at, let me see what's the name of this place here. It's called, and I want to get the name of it. It's called the Off Broad Street Cafe House in Red Bank, New Jersey. Admission was 75 cents. Yes. Yep. And it was he wasn't called Bruce Springsteen or EC Band or anything like that. The band was called Earth. Okay. But that was his debut.
Wow.
The band only lasted 6 months. But to think that this guy would rise to the level that he has, I got nothing bad to say about him because I put him on the level of a Rolling Stones singer, Mick Jagger. Can't sing a lick. Not what exactly you call a looker. Certainly he's not a great dancer by any stretch of the imagination, but he has something that just appeals to people.
Mm-hmm.
And Springsteen concerts were like sold out for 20 years, if not more, man. People just flock to this guy. Terrific songwriter. I didn't learn to appreciate him until maybe the last 10 years, to be honest with you. And I enjoyed playing the songs. Some of the bands I was in. I enjoyed listening to some of them. But really a different kind of guy. Thoughts on him?
Yeah, I mean, I never was a huge fan, although when a Bruce Springsteen song comes on, I'm not turning it off either. Yeah, it's right. It's a whole vibe with him. It's like his whole charisma, like his whole confidence, charisma. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
And of course, the supporting band is. I mean, he was smart enough to say, "Listen, let me get Clarence Thomas, let me get some of these
Max
guys."
Weinberg, terrific drummer, and of course Patty Scalfa, who he ended up marrying.
Yep.
Yeah, and his brother, Stephen Van Zandt, also on rhythm guitar and backing vocals. So, I think what happened with him was he had that vibe, like you mentioned, but he had a whole state behind him. New Jersey supports its own.
Yeah.
South Side, whatever. Well, you're from New Jersey, you'll get that entire state behind you, and I think that's what helped propel him to superstardom.
He's doing Broadway shows now. He does like a Broadway show now where you go in and it's him and he tells the story behind the songs and stuff like that. So it's a very intimate type of thing with him. So sounds very, very interesting. If I was in the area, I would be inclined to go check that out. So that's doing, I think it's doing pretty well for him. So
also talking about influence on music. This day in 1968, the Jackson 5 made their formal debut with Diana Ross and the Supreme at the Great Western Forum in California. Michael Jackson was on the record, and it's been well documented, the help and support that they got from Diana Ross. Wasn't discovered by Diana Ross. I forget the lady's name who actually discovered them and took them to Berry Gordy, but certainly Diana Ross fell in love with Michael and helped propel them in the Jackson 5. This group, now it's not hard to see why they propel so big. First of all, just being black at that time in the 60s, seeing a group like this with the precision, the dancing, playing their own instruments and singing. To be honest with you, I think they should have got more credit than they did. So at a young age, wrote their own songs, just absolutely tremendous. But also the quality of songs to this day. ABC, I Want You Back. All these songs are like some of the greatest songs to just sing that make you feel good, and they have stood the test of time.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, there's certainly all decade 70s band, no question about it. Everything you just said was, I can't say much more. Any band that does that and it has a record that you can cut off the back of a cereal box.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that or not.
Yeah.
It was a Jackson 5 record. You cut off a back of like alphabets or something like that back in the day. And they also had a TV, a Saturday morning cartoon there for a little while, the Jackson 5 Adventures or something like that. That's pretty big. That's pretty big stuff. So, yeah, definitely one of my favorite 70s bands without question.
Well, let me ask you a question. Would you consider them the preamble to the boy band?
They definitely set the tone for that without no doubt about it. Like you said, it was that whole extra dynamic with them singing and their own instruments. That was extra impressive. You don't see that a whole bunch with these boy bands there. No. Yeah, I mean, are they the first one? It's certainly it's up there because the Osmonds had Marie and all that, and they had a lot of boys, but it wasn't all dudes out there until Janet came on. But
right,
yeah. Definitely set the tone. You're right.
Definitely a star in her own right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Also, staying in music. And actually, I'm going to let you start that off. But 1975, Peter Gabriel. This was a huge decision. Peter Gabriel of the group Genesis just announced that he was leaving the band. This really caused a lot of angst for Genesis. They auditioned over 400 singers.
Wow.
Over a year and a half. And before deciding that the drummer, who was already in the band, would become the lead singer, a guy we all know well by the name of Phil Collins. This is one of those instances where you took something great and split it up, and you got two things great out of it.
Yeah.
One of my favorite albums to this day is Peter Gabriel's So. It's one of those albums I call perfect from start to finish. And of course, Genesis. Actually, you got three great things out of it. You got Genesis, you got Peter Gabriel, and you got Phil Collins solo stuff eventually. Right. And that doesn't happen very often. I don't know if we've ever seen that in history where three awesome things came out of one. We've seen two. We've seen Lionel Richie and the Commodores and things like that. But man, to get three great acts out of one, I don't know if it's ever happened before.
I agree with you. I can't think of another example. You're right. I'd be definitely something to think on. But yeah, without that split, I mean, they were making some unusual type music and everything back then. But you're right. That kind of needed to happen at the end of the day both.
It needed to happen.
Yeah, for both groups to really go on and make some special music in their own right. You would not have the Genesis today without that split up. It just was not going to happen.
That's a great point, because no way. I don't think they would have took the road they took had they stayed like that.
No.
Obviously, Peter Gabriel had some ideas that Genesis wasn't hearing, and he had to go do his own thing. And of course, Phil Collins obviously the same thing. He came out with a whole new feel and sound that we had never heard before, and one of the greatest songwriters ever.
Both huge on MTV back in the day too.
Yeah.
Certainly, that's some of the most well-known videos.
Oh my gosh! And after Peter Gabriel did his thing, became huge, and Phil Collins became huge, Genesis turned into something different that you could really listen to and enjoy, because they were a little out there before.
Yep.
Okay, now this is another story dear to my heart here in music. Fish, 1986. On this day, drummer Rick Allen of the band Def Leppard made his first live appearance after losing an arm in a car accident when they appeared on the Monsters of Rock Festival at the Castle Donington in England. I will never, ever forget when this happened. When I heard the Pyromania album and saw the video for Foolin', I was hooked on Def Leppard, hooked on Rick Allen. When the story about him losing his arm came out, I was devastated, being a drummer myself, for those of you that don't know. But there was no better feel-good story in rock than to hear when this band stuck with their drummer.
Yeah.
And gave him the inspiration and the courage to figure out how to play with three limbs as opposed to four. And they've been doing it now for decades. One of the best stories in rock music.
I agree with you. It's one of the most incredible stories in music history, without a doubt. Like you said, the whole thing. The fact that this guy, first of all, was like, okay, well, who would have think that if you lost an arm, that you would think, no, I can still do this. I can still make this happen.
Right.
And you help create your own custom drum set. You teach yourself how to do it. And like you say, all the while, Def Leppard said, nope, we're not replacing. We're not touring.
Yep.
This is our guy. And they went on to hit whole new heights of success and everything with the Hysteria album.
Music. We're talking rock. I mean, this guy plays, man.
Really, really incredible stuff. Yeah. So like you said, just really, like you said, it's hard to say much more than that.
I think it's a great example for millennial culture today, or quote unquote cancel culture. You see people get thrown away so fast for making a wrong tweet at night. You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
You could lose your job by texting something and get canceled and have your people turn their back on you. And here's a band that relied on power drumming, and the guy lost his arm.
Amazing. Any other guy on our show? What's his name? I can't think of it right now.
Something. He lost a thumb, and we threw him out.
I think he's heard of Def Leppard. I think at the very least, I know he's heard of Def Leppard. So we learn from that. You know what I'm saying?
We did.
That's right. With us two and the other guy. You know what I'm saying? So,
absolutely.
Yep. Stick with your people.
Stick with your people. And my last story on this day of music, and I really want to commend this guy too. In 1997, Will Smith started a 4-week run of '1 on the UK singles chart with the song Men in Black, taken from the movie, obviously with the same name. He also won a Grammy in '97 for the best rap solo performance. Prior to the Men in Black album, he had released a huge rap album, one of my favorite albums of all time, Big Willie style. And some of the songs are iconic today, legendary. I love this guy because he made some of the best music without talking about killing cops, without talking about big booties, without talking about, I got this, I got that. And it was fun music. And I was so proud to see that album go to #1 and not have to try to keep up with the Joneses, if you will, or take the pressure of singing about all this other negative stuff that was permeating the airways. Love Will Smith. Love what he did.
Yeah, a lot of fun. I mean, I defy anybody. If you hear the song "Summertime,"
my favorite,
and to not put a smile on your face, especially during the summertime, then I'm sad for you. So yeah, you're right. Just a lot of fun music, a lot of fun videos on MTV back in the day. Also, like Parents Just Don't Understand and stuff like that. Just fun, like you say, just fun, lighthearted stuff. Yeah, good for him. And DJ Jazzy Jeff.
Jazzy Jeff, yeah.
Yes.
And he still sticks with his DJ. They do things together here and there. And of course, the show, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, that's just well loved and legendary by all people. So great talent right there. That's all I got in music and sports today, man.
All right, sounds good. Well, let's remember one other thing in music that I didn't realize. You and I chatted about it earlier.
Yes.
Today happens to be the anniversary of the death of Elvis Presley back in 1977. So, I mean, obviously Elvis was not in the best of health, and poor man he was addicted to drugs at the time. I think. However, that's kind of the Elvis you know at the end, but certainly in his lifetime, one of the most influential artists, certainly of his generation, if not all time, as far as overall pop culture and music and everything else. Again, not the greatest singer on the earth. Definitely had influences. Maybe some say kind of stealing from some of the old, Motown type artists and all of that stuff. However, he definitely helped transcend rock music. Kind of took that to another level. I always thought he was fun. I was introduced to Elvis. My dad had a lot of old 45 records from him, his high school years. So as a kid, you didn't have, you had access to what you had access to. Whatever mom and dad had is one of your first introductions to music around the house. In our generation, certainly. There was no streaming, of course, and all that crap.
Right.
If parents had an Elvis record, you checked it out. So he always was somebody I enjoyed even as a kid. So, so still to this day, very influential and entertaining. Every Christmas, it is not Christmas time until I hear the Elvis Christmas album.
Christmas.
Absolutely. It's just that I just love it. So, just completely over the top. Completely over the top. Yeah. And also don't forget his gospel albums and singing as well, Keith. Yes. So, Elvis fan, sort of, not so much. Yes. What do you think?
Okay, so I'm going to address Elvis, and I'm going to address the actual death of Elvis. I'm going to have to disagree with you on something. You said wasn't the greatest singer. I have 5 of my favorite singers of all time. He is number 2.
Wow. Okay.
I thought he had a tremendous voice. It was just something about it. I think he was like the rock version of Old Blue Eyes.
Sure.
Frank Sinatra.
Yep.
There was just a smoothness to it. It,
I agree.
it was rock, but there was just a smoothness to it.
Mm-hmm.
I have been an Elvis fan since I was a child.
Excellent.
And I was introduced to Elvis every summer. A woman who was like a sister to my mom and my dad. She had a kid my age. They lived in Detroit, Michigan. Every summer they would come and get me and take me back to Detroit for 2 or 3 weeks. It was the best 2 or 3 weeks of my life. And here I am with this 8-year-old kid, black kid, pulling out a bunch of Elvis 45s and singing them to me. And
Terrific.
I had never heard anything like it. I came back home, introduced it to my sister and her friend. I made them stand up behind me on the porch and go, and do, be my backup singers while I sang Elvis songs. Know all the words. My favorite song in the world, anybody would tell you, my favorite number one song is Kentucky Rain.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. That is my number one song in the world. Mm-hmm. And I actually went to Kentucky and got some Kentucky Rain in a jar one time. That's how bad I am. But yes, huge Elvis fan. So that being said, the death of Elvis was something like we have never seen. The impact lasted for years. And even to this day, we have people still making not a trip, not a visit, but a pilgrimage to Graceland. The money that's made off of his name, his image. I don't know if that generation is dying off right now. That'd be interesting to see. But I'm 52 and I'm a Gen Xer, and I love Elvis. So his death was something that shocked the world. Shouldn't have shocked the world with the stuff that he was doing, but man, people mourn and mourn and mourn. They named their kids Elvis. The hairstyle everywhere in Vegas and every type of show, he's imitated all the time. His impact was something like we have never seen.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the first. I say one of the first. Definitely a huge Vegas performer in his as he came on, and he definitely helped set the tone for some of those huge Vegas shows, and many artists, sure. I'm sure, based on what he was able to do, flocked to Vegas to do their shows and their tours and everything else in Vegas. He just said, I'm just going to be here and do my thing and let people come in to see me, and just a lot of fun.
You know why these people do Vegas? It's real simple. Your audience grows up with you. And you get to a certain age where it's like, too old to be going to concerts and screaming and, being crushed down for all that crazy stuff. But you know what? When you get to a certain age, in your 60s, whatever, you don't mind being in a nice setting with tables and people bringing you food and things like that. So, that's why they moved to Vegas, where their audience can follow them and grow up with them. He could be 60 and say, I'm still going to play Madison Square Garden, and nobody's going to come to that. You know what I'm saying? But you go ahead and play Vegas, you can do residency there for 2 or 3 years, and sell out every single weekend or every night or whatever. So, love the guy, man. Love the guy. You didn't know that about me, did you?
I did not. Yep. I did not. So there you go. Learned something new tonight.
Yeah, favorite singer, man. Huge Elvis fan.
Awesome. Okay. Pop culture wise, a lot of stuff there. Keith, you and I both watched the first episode of the What If series on Disney Plus, the latest Marvel show. It's an animated show, and as you and I know, not everybody knows, but certainly you and I know, this has been an ongoing comic series in the Marvel universe for many years, going back to the 70s.
Yeah,
and just somebody had a great idea. Why we can have a whole other. A myriad of other stories to simply answer the question, what if this would have happened versus that? And one thing happens and it sets a chain of events in this alternate timeline for Marvel. It's not tied to the normal universe, but this is a way to tell a story a little bit differently. So as we know, the first episode was what if Agent Carter got the super soldier serum instead of Steve Rogers and became Captain Carter versus Steve Rogers, and what happens there. So what do you think of What If Keith.
Okay. We have been talking about Marvel since the beginning of WandaVision, and nothing has changed. The praises are still ringing out for Marvel. They just can't seem to do anything wrong.
Right.
I thought this was outstanding. First of all, kudos for giving not the mainstream superheroes, but giving Agent Carter some love. I thought that just that by itself, giving a female who wasn't some superpower being, and the story was about her. So I thought that was just amazing. And I tell you what, I thought that was well put together. Man, she was no joke. She was violent. She was vigilant. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Excellent. Well done.
I'm with you. I thought it was a lot of fun. The animation was incredible. You brought in some of the original voice actors, I believe, from some of the Marvel shows and stuff too. And just interesting storyline. So it has interesting twists. We won't do any spoilers here, but some interesting twists with Howard Stark, and all of that. And Steve Rogers still has a very prominent, different type of role in this universe. So yeah, check that out. I'm looking forward to the upcoming stories here with the what if the Black Panther became Star-Lord?
Yes.
And they're going to introduce the Marvel Zombies, which I am thoroughly excited for.
Yeah,
it's going to make an
you're
appearance.
A zombie guy.
Absolutely. So yeah, good job. And again, you could just do tons of these, especially being animated. You could make these.
You can do whatever.
Several seasons,
and I'll say
have
this,
a lot of fun.
I'll give this away. I thought it was cool that she was still in love with Rogers.
Yeah.
Even though he was a little scrawny weakling still. But that was really cool.
Yeah, very, very cool. Very, very cool. All right. Other big story. We got about 9 minutes. Well, other big comic story. This is making a lot of news in the comics world and otherwise right now. So it just came out, no pun intended, that Robin,
What else?
Robin,
a great segue.
The Tim Drake version of Robin. So there's been different kids that's been in that role. We know Dick Grayson. You already mentioned Jason Todd from the Titans. Tim Drake. Bruce Wayne's son, Damian's been Robin. Anyway, so apparently he has come out as bisexual in a recent comic story where Robin apparently saved a young man from whatever, bad guys, whatever. And the young man, I guess, asked him out on a date. They're the same age, And I guess the story kind of ends with them going out on a date. So also, we know in the Loki series, Loki also came out as bisexual. I don't know. I can't remember the whole, but it was definitely, you got it that he was, bisexual apparently. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, these, and there's been other storylines as well with Marvel heroes coming out as gay or lesbian and all of that. So, are these good things for the LGBTQ community? Just to show that, hey, these are human characters. Not everybody is going to be straight. If you're talking about a normal human, universe, I guess. Is it good to do this, or is it like, keep all this stuff out of the comics and let's just stick with the heroes and the fighting and all that? What do you think about heroes coming out as gay, bi, lesbian, Keith?
Well, I try to keep taper by feelings and beliefs with truth. And you said an interesting thing the way you put it. If you're the LGBTQ community or so on, you feel strong about this because that's real life.
Mm-hmm.
People are gay. As a black man, I get it because when I watch certain things and I'm like, I don't see anybody that looks like me in certain areas. And it's like, that's not realistic. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Of course, I had to grow up dealing with things like that in movies, TV, whatever. So I get that. However, I think because, and we've had to learn over the years, we made the mistake of saying, well, that's a life choice. it's a choice, and I don't know any gay person that would say that it's a choice. Matter of fact, they'd probably be very offended. So, with that being said, but I think because of the nature of what that brings, we should keep it out of the comics. And it's hard for me to say that because I totally understand where they're coming from. Just because I don't believe in it or whatnot, it doesn't mean it's not real. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I can't close my eyes and say, well, it's not real. It doesn't work. It's real. I don't know. My doctor could be gay. People used to ask me all the time, if what if your so-and-so was gay? What if your so-and-so was gay? And I would be like, well, they might be, but it's the fact that if they are or not, it's just none of my freaking business. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. I don't want to see it in the comics. I don't want to see it in TV period because I think it's such a I don't know what the word, igniting issue. You know what I'm saying? I think it should be, and I'm not telling somebody, certainly not that term in the closet. I don't like that. I'm not telling somebody they should hide who they are or nothing like that. But I'm just talking about as far as comic books, as far as when you talk about your fantasy, like your superhero stuff, I don't think it should be in that. I just really don't. I can understand in your movies. I can understand your TVs, whether I like it or not. That's reality. But I think in your fantasies, I think they should stay away from hot-blooded issues like that.
Okay. So this, they're human characters, but we don't necessarily need to know all the background and all the ins and outs of at that level in the comics is what you're thinking, maybe.
We were so excited when we watched things like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier because for the first time we saw these characters, these superhuman characters as human beings. You know, I got a family. I got to go buy groceries. All these things, but normally we just see them as these, crime fighting, evil fighting, super beings. And it makes it very, very simple. It keeps it simple. I think it gets very complicated when you start implementing all these personal things. Marvel did it with the shows that we talked about. Didn't get too deep, but it was good enough to say, okay, the Falcon's a human being. Falcon's a black man. The Falcon has a family. The Falcon has money issues, things like that. But normally we don't like to overcomplicate it when it comes to your fantasy and your superheroes and things like that.
Yeah, you're right. It is a whole other level for sure. It certainly goes beyond race and sex and stuff like that to where, I don't know. I mean,
I'm glad you said that because I want to be fair. I'm not just talking about homosexuality. I'm talking about sex and rape, all these other things as well.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, it does. You're right. It can create a whole lot of other level of complexity with these characters and all of that to where, I don't know how much they have to explain it from here. Honestly, Tim Drake's bisexual. You could probably even leave it at that. You don't even need to do anything else with it. Probably
let me put it
bring it up
like
again.
this.
Go ahead.
We know Iron Man takes a poop. We don't need to see it, hear about it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if anything, I like it in the sense of I do like it as what you said in the sense of if there's some kid out there, and I know you agree with this, if there's some kid out there who's feeling alienated or whatever, if something like that can bring some joy to that kid, and you can have a fantasy, and I could rise up and, Robin's gay. I know who Robin is.
Right.
Then
I get that. I don't have to like it to get it. I get that.
Yeah. Then more power to. And they don't know yet how. You mentioned the Teen Titans. I think it was off camera before we got on here, which is you recommend, by the way, on HBO Max.
Greatly recommend.
That's
There's
the Tim
nothing
Drake.
like it.
That's the Tim Drake Robin on there. Now they're not saying they're going to tie the comic to the series and make that Tim Drake on the Teen Titans bisexual or anything like that. So I guess that kind of remains to be seen. But
Tim Drake is not on Teen Titans.
I thought he was the Robin there.
No. It's Jason Todd.
Jason Todd. Okay.
Yeah, Jason Todd's the one that got beat with the crowbar by Joker, and it has also Dick Grayson, who is Nightwing. Yes.
Okay, I stand corrected. Sorry about that. Okay,
my fault. I probably didn't make that clear.
That's okay. Thank you for that. So, and that's a couple of the hot things in the world of pop culture. We are right around the top of the hour, so I think we're gonna, wrap this up, sir, and maybe we'll come back and do a long episode if you feel inclined. So
I'm up now.
That sounds good. Still up and awake. So, on behalf of Mike Skinner, who cannot join us this evening, enjoying some lovely family time, I am Brian Fisher. This is Keith Porter. We thank you for tuning into It Came From GenX. Look for a new episode next week and a new mini-sode coming at you as well. Get off our lawn. We're going to talk about vaccination and stuff like that in New York City. So thanks for your support. Stay strong, Gen X. We'll see you next week.
Mr. Skinner, love you, brother.